Hello again everyone, this is Mr. Hoy. In this video I'm going to discuss the discriminant, and the discriminant is represented by the expression b squared minus 4ac, and actually is a component of the bigger quadratic formula we'll get more to later in this lesson. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b, so negative 1 times b, plus or minus the square root of that discriminant, b squared minus 4ac here in blue, and all of this over 2a. The quadratic formula is one of the methods that we can use to solve quadratic equations, to determine the solutions, roots, x-intercepts, all those again are the same thing. That bigger formula, which we'll use again to solve those equations later in this assignment, we can use here just a section of that to determine the discriminant. So we take that b squared minus 4ac. Here's an example of an equation. We've got f of x equals negative 3x squared plus 5x plus 6. We can take the b value, positive 5, and substitute that right where the b value is in the discriminant expression. We have a minus 4 as part of that expression. Substitute the a value, negative 3, right there, and the c value, the positive 6, right there. After we've done that, after we've substituted those values, you want to be especially careful when simplifying the next step. Not so much for the 25, I expect that to go pretty smoothly, 5 times 5. But the issue comes here when we're doing negative 4, and I do want you to think of this as negative 4. But negative 4 times negative 3 times positive 6. I try to include that minus sign as a negative 4 for the purposes of calculations and making sure the next line has the correct sign. A negative times a negative will be a positive, and that positive times another positive will result in a positive number here. Most students that do this question make a mistake, simply make a mistake on this calculation and end up getting a minus 72 instead. Again, you want to double check your math when you're doing this question to make sure the sign is correct or appropriate. So we got 25 plus 72, which is 97. So this is going to be the answer for what is the discriminant. But attached to that question is how many answers will there be to this question. The discriminant tells us that. The discriminant, because it's located inside the radical, will tell us whether or not there are 2 possible solutions, 0 solutions, or 1 solution. In the event you get a positive number, we've got 2 solutions because, again, we're going to be adding or subtracting the square root of that. So if you add it, you get 1 answer. If you subtract it, you get the other answer. In situations where you have a 0 discriminant, adding and subtracting 0 don't add in an extra answer. Adding 0 to something keeps it the same as subtracting 0. So in those circumstances, you're going to have 1 solution. And in situations where you get a negative discriminant, you're going to have no solutions because you cannot find the square root of a negative number. Going back to our example here, we've got a positive discriminant, so we can say that this will result in 2 solutions. So make sure to apply this discriminant not just in the I can solve for the discriminant sense and writing down that number, but then using that number to determine whether or not we're going to have 1 solution, 2 solutions, or potentially no solution.